Today's guest comes to us from Washington State. He built the number one luxury brokerage in his market with 4 offices, 130 agents, and over 1.4 billion in sales. But instead of staying at the top of that traditional model, he made a bold move. He dissolved all that, and brought his entire business over to eXpRealty. In this episode, Garth pulls back the curtain on what the real cost of owning a brokerage is. The hidden expenses, the non-stop headaches, and the truth no one tells you about running a traditional office. Get ready for an unfiltered look at why he walked away from the American dream of brokerage ownership, what he discovered at EXP, and what this shift means for his numbers. Let's welcome Garth Ward. Today we're heading all the way to Tennessee with Garth here from our, Wolfpack group, and I'm super excited to chat with you and learn more about, how you've expanded so fast in different states, and just share with us more about you and your story, please.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting journey. I've been in the industry for 13 years. So far, I've sold about $1.4 billion worth of real estate. I used to own a brokerage. I built that a few years ago. And now I have an organization that spans almost every single state in the United States. I moved from Washington State to Tennessee, restarted doing a sales business over here, and it's now been 14 months since I started from scratch with no friends, no understanding of the marketplace, no understanding of the neighborhoods or anything, no friends, no family, nothing, square one. Um, and today I just closed out on my 55th transaction since I restarted. So it's been a journey for sure, and I've done everything in under the sun from commercial real estate to development real estate, new construction real estate, $10,000 double placed manufactured homes to $21.7 million transactions. So I've kind of run the gambit.
That's a lot. That's good. So then, share with us. So you moved from a different state to Tennessee now. It's been a few months. And when did you started with, with EXP and in the Wolfpack group, and how has that changed your business over time?
Well, for me, it was probably more than a lot of people because I actually owned a brokerage. So I had and owned and operated 4 offices that were independently held. So I was already running an entire brokerage myself before I made the transition. When I did make the transition over to the virtual model, that allowed me to scale past Washington State. And it also allowed me to scale without having to increase capital expenditure, add new buildings, add new managers, add new staff, and all the other things that I was kind of abutting as I was trying to expand. And so for me, when I made that transition, we were able to get rid of my commercial spaces, get rid of my staff. And then at that point, we kind of looked at it and said, well, if we don't have to be here, is this really where we want to be? So while we were looking at expanding the brick and mortar company that I used to own called Park Place, um, the area that I live now, which is the greater Memphis, I'm on the outskirts of the Memphis area, was a place that I went a couple different times because we were thought we were going to place an office location over here. And when we decided not to do that and merge in, it kind of kept coming up in our minds like maybe we should go there. We feel like maybe we should. So we did, and here we are. um, and obviously, the other really cool part is the culture of consistently winning and operating under high quality work ethic is something that I'm extremely happy about in our organization now. Because even at my brokerage at Park Place, we were known as a boutique luxury firm. We were outperforming every luxury firm, every normal firm in our market center by way of average price point. We were number one.
Mhm.
And that was great, but there was very little culture. It was kind of competitively driven. Um, People wouldn't really get connected with each other. The high producers just kind of did their own thing. Um, the low producers would be the only ones that would come into the office because they were looking for guidance, and then they'd stop coming to the office the second they get any traction. And that's the problem with the general business, and that isn't the problem here, which has been really nice.
Mhm. And from your experience that you've run a whole brokerage, and maybe some brokers are in your shoes right now,
Mhm.
considering and maybe evaluating the option of going to a cloud-based brokerage, how has that, like, I mean, besides saving you money in office space, of course, And how's that like impacted your business in maybe allowing having more time and then spending less of your budget? Like if somebody's watching this, how can they relate to you? Like, what is the benefit? How does it look like in the other side?
Yeah. So from a brokerage perspective, it's really multifaceted. And that's one of the interesting things about having these deeper level conversations is the fact that most people can't have them because they've never lived in your shoes. If you're a brokerage owner right now listening here, I can tell you, you haven't been able to talk to many people that have been in my shoes because most brokerages, when they open their doors, they never get past 10 agents. Only 1 in 10 brokerages get past 10 agents. Only 1 in 100 get past 30. Only 1 in 1,000 get past 100. And I built mine to 137 with 4 offices in a 4 year period of time. And I can tell you, it was very profitable. It was, but it wasn't worth the opportunity cost loss that I had when I put so much time and effort and attention into growing it when I could have been doing sales and making more money. So that's number one. Number two, the liability connected to it. I got sued twice through that 4 year period of time. Both of them were frivolous. I won both of them. It didn't stop me from paying near $200,000 in legal battle fees, right? And so even though you might be profitable today, I would urge you look at your actual spreadsheet. Don't count your own sales production. Don't count leads that are handed to your agents that you charge extra splits for. Just look at your splits, fees, transaction fees, and or maybe if you have monthly fees or desk fees, that's it. Then subtract out your liabilities. Whatever you're left with at the end of the year, that's your actual profitability, assuming you actually have a manager in place, an admin in place at bare minimum, and a building. If all of those things are true and you have some sort of profitability, let's say you make $50,000 a year after all of your expenses and you actually build all that out. Your brokerage is worthless. I know you're sitting there thinking in your mind, wow, I have this great asset. It's worth so much money. No, it isn't. Now, I built mine and we were making approximately $480,000 after everything with 4 offices, the staff, the CEO, the managers, the assistants, all the stuff. And the offers that we were getting in, and by the way, if you look to do something else, there's really only 2 pathways that you can do, right? You can sell the company or you can merge the company into a different opportunity. That's it. Selling the company looks like this. You talk to other brokerages that might be able to consider taking you on. And what they're going to do is they're going to look at your brokerage. They're going to take your net number. They're going to multiply it by 2.5 to 3% or to 300%. That's it. The 2.5 to 3 multiple of your net number is what your company is basically worth today. Now, you don't get that money. You get 40% of that money up front. You get the rest of it through what's called an earnout period. If the company grows and makes more money, you don't get anything from it. You just get your earnout period. If it starts getting lower, you actually make less money than the actual agreed upon purchase price throughout the earnout period. So there's really no benefit in doing it because had you just owned the company for 3 more years, you would have earned that money anyways and still owned it. So selling it is almost a waste of time if you have time horizon left in the industry. The other options, you can franchise, which arguably at this point just means you can tie in with Compass because almost every franchise is going to be interconnected with them now. So effectively you can franchise to utilize somebody else's brand, but we all know nobody really cares about brokerage brand anymore, and you're just going to add in extra costs and extra fees into your agents without really any extra value as long as you're actually providing them real value today. And then you have this third option. And this option allows you to do so much, which is why I ultimately decided to do it. Now, I was making good money from the brokerage and in sales. And instead, I said, I'm going to merge the whole thing over to EXP and I'm not going to make a dollar. I'm not going to get paid for it. And I'm not going to merge them as a team. They're all going to be a revenue share organization. And I'm going to take on all the splits and fees of every other agent because I wasn't charging myself splits and fees. So I made arguably the worst financial decision possible, right? But what that allowed me to do is eliminate my liability, eliminate my legal liability, and increase my megaphone. That's the word, my megaphone. Because now I could then attract agents anywhere in the globe almost. And that changes things precipitously. And alongside that, because I was building a brand, that makes it easier to expand into different areas. But alongside that, I wouldn't have to grow it alone. When you're owning your brokerage, you're sitting here trying to build everything, compliance all yourself, review yourself, sales yourself, accounting is yourself, recruitment is you. All of it's driven by you. But the second that you plug into a platform like this, you have partners that are going to help you grow with you because they're financially incentivized to. And when you're connected with a culture like ours, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. At this point, I've been here for about 2 years now. I have helped 4 different brokerage offices close their doors and come partner with us. And every single one of them is way happier now that they've done that. And so am I. Because now, in just a couple year period of time, instead of being localized in just Washington state, now I have hundreds of agents across the country in about 35 states the last time I checked. And so it's a drastically different experience. And ultimately, I have substantially less time invested into it. I used to be at the office almost every day, all day. Now I'm not. Now I put a couple hours a day into my organization by ways of trainings and calls and helping people get onboarded. That's it. I'm not in it 8 hours a day, all day like I was before. And now I even have partners that have partnered with me that are going out and getting agents that are helping me build revenue, and I don't even know these people until they come in half the time now, and I have to be introduced to them. And I can tell you, the second that starts happening, the light bulb clicks, and you realize, wow, why was I doing this myself for years? I know brokerage owners that have decided to come partner with us that have been in brokerage for 8, 9 years, and they're sitting on 30 agents. It is extremely hard to get past that level. It is. And I had to radically change everything so that I could do it. And so what I can tell everybody listening to this is if you have a brokerage, click a link in the description below. Let's have a deeper conversation on what we can do to look at different ways that you can come over. There are several different options, different ways we can kind of couch things, and we could talk to corporate and do different things. There's different availabilities to get you out of your non-profitability because most of you are not truly making any money. Now, if you're a team leader listening to this and you've been considering starting a brokerage because you heard about the Compass news and you don't want to get absorbed, or you've just been considering it because now you have 10 agents on your team and maybe it makes sense to start a brokerage. That's what I did. I'm going to tell you right now, do not do it. You're going to make substantially less money. You're going to spend substantially more time doing it. So just click a link in the description below. Let's have a conversation. We can delve deeper into all the details.
No, I love the fact that you have experience with the brokerage because sometimes you know, it's hard for, I mean, from an ego perspective, right? You have your brand, you have your logo outside, and it's
Yeah.
hard to get absorbed. At least that's what most people think. But
Mhm.
I think with EXP, what many brokerages don't understand is that they just transfer the brand over.
Mhm.
To do the same, right? Like you transfer your brand over, and now you grew with that within a platform that absorbs your liability, probably your tech cost that you would have had to pay out of pocket otherwise if you're a broker owner. And for the agents and the retention, that in your opinion, what would be the number one? I mean, to me it has been technology, but for you, like once you joined EXP, what was the once you did like hands off, besides the liability tech, how do you train your new agents on that? Like why would a brokerage be like, I don't want to pay for the CRM for every single agent, for example.
Mhm.
Now, if I go to eXp, I have everything in one place. So,
Yeah.
how has that been a factor for you for growth?
Yeah, no, it's been really good actually because every person we would add in would cost us money and time and resources. And so I started to equate recruitment or attraction with pain because half the time if you're a broker or owner listening again, half of your agents don't sell homes. So you get this agent, you spend money on them, you spend time on them, you train them, you do all these things, and then they don't even sell a house, and then they leave the business. And you're like, why do I want to do that again? And then it happens again and again and again, and you're like, why am I even doing this? And then you start to question the fact that if you should even grow.
Hmm.
Not an issue. It's a non-factor here because when somebody comes, it takes 5 seconds. You send them a link for the application. That's it. They get all the technology. They get three different CRM availabilities. In fact, four different CRM availabilities because there's another one launching here in about a month or so. Um, EXP World is insane. You get Slack Pro, you get Canva Pro, you get so many tech resources that if you were to try to compile these as an individual broker, the cost would far exceed your profitability. And that's one of those things when it comes to the humility aspect that you mentioned. I, like every brokerage owner listening today, have a big ego. I do. I have a big ego. I'm an arrogant guy. No, but here's the thing. I had to settle it down because it's I didn't get into it for me. I got into it so I could expand, so that I could increase my message, so that I could impact more agents. That's why I did it. And if that's why you're in it and your goal is for the betterment of the agent, you have to objectively sit back and say, what is best for these agents that I'm asked to shepherd? And if I'm shepherding them, I am sure gonna give them and tell them the best thing that they should do. And when I sat back and I said, I'm not the best at everything. I'm not. I'm the best at a couple things. Arguably, I'm the best at a couple things, and I'm not the best at this, or this, or this, or this. But if I could align myself with people that are, that could give my agents the training to all of those pieces, and they could get more tech and a better compensation plan and a better vehicle for their growth and a better long-term wealth building machine, why would I not tell them to do that? I sat back and I said, I cannot morally sell my own brokerage anymore because it is not the right decision. That's when I knew I had to make the transfer. So that's piece one. Piece two, I had to look at it and say, if I can still say Park Place all the time and everywhere, at least in my own personal stuff, that'll make me feel good. Will everybody say stuff negative about me? Maybe. In fact, I know they did because you look at me and I'm a 32-year-old guy. I built four offices and all these things. And then all of a sudden I switch over to EXP. Everybody looks at me and they're like, you're crazy. Or were you going bankrupt? Or why did you do it? Or like there was so many negative things posted and directed towards me for a moment. That's okay. And you have to just understand that's part of it because people don't understand. They don't understand behind the curtain of a brokerage office. They just don't get it. They just see the outside and the image of it. But if you're here just for the image of it, probably don't click the link in the description. Don't do that. This won't be the right fit for you because we are about the results, not the image of it. And so I had to divorce myself from people thinking that I was the coolest, biggest name in the thing, like because that wasn't what was relevant to me to begin with. It did alienate my mindset. I'm going to be honest, for a little while, where I was like, I am awesome, I am the best, and whatever. But when you calm that down and you sit back and you look at things objectively, you'll realize that the math doesn't support being there. And if you're trying to run those numbers and you're trying to get that math correlated and see if it works and whatever, obviously we'll have a completely confidential conversation because I understand the delicacy of that conversation and we can run the numbers in several comprehensive ways to see if it even makes sense to delve into a deeper conversation from there.
Mhm. And based on the, I mean, for those people that don't understand, how you expanded so fast in different states, can you share a little bit of the background? Because some people will think, yeah, I would like to be in more than one state. Maybe I have to get 2 licenses or 3 licenses, have a run an office there. Because when you think about brokerage, you think about that. And that
Mhm.
sounds to me like a pain in the neck because then you're just opening yourself to more bureaucracy, like doing your taxes in different states and things like that. Can you share more about that? If, because you're in 35 states now, so that's pretty fast in 2 years.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was the biggest hindrance. I mean, that alongside the extra stuff, the extra tools, resources, trainings, technologies, and a better compensation model, adding all of that to the side, I looked at it and said, I want to expand. If I'm going to expand, I need to, as a brokerage owner, I have to open a new office. I have to get a new manager, or I have to get a new license, and I have to get a new DBA, and I have to get new NAR affiliations, and I have to get new MLS subscriptions, and I have to get new all of the stuff connected to it. There's a lot. And I was delving into it. It's capital intensive just to start. Um, Whereas when you come over to EXP, right, when I moved the license, I could get agents in any place that EXP is located. I can get agents anywhere in the globe that there is availability for an EXP agent to be licensed immediately. No extra licensing, no extra fees, no extra costs. It's just affiliated with the revenue share organization structure. And if you're trying to figure out how or what, just, we'll book a call and we'll have a conversation. But the way that I did it was simple. I talked about it. I was visible about it. I was on social media talking about it. And a lot of people would wonder, well, what did you do? Did you just start cold calling people? Did you just start, email blasting people? No, I didn't do any of that. I had people reach out to me based on content like we're doing here. I actually have had every single brokerage owner that reached out to me. They saw me on a YouTube video with me explaining similar to what I'm doing right now and breaking it down. They reached out to me. We had that confidential conversation. We walked through everything. We ran through the numbers and they realized that this was a great fit for them. And so those are just some examples, but agents do that all the time. And then when you get agents that join you, if they post about what they're doing and how they're doing it and they do business, they're going to naturally have conversations with other agents. That leads to duplication. And the ability for it to be borderless is paramount because social media is borderless. So when they're talking, not everything that is being seen in their hyper localized market like they would have to be for it to be beneficial to your brick and mortar shop.
Mhm. No, this is awesome. And I like that how you break it down on the organization part as a broker owner, because there's many people that are still in that fence that, hey, should I expand to more locations? And that, as you said, it only translates sometimes to the onboarding to a headache because you don't know if they're going to stay, you're going to spend the time, and then you don't know if you're going to stick around because real estate is just like that. And that's the nature of it. And
Yeah.
just so my last question, and I think this is related to what I saw in your Instagram a while ago and the little scare that you had. And that's when the light bulb went in, like, I'm in the right vehicle when, I don't know, you're gonna share more about that when you almost got shot. And you were thinking about what would happen if you didn't have this revenue share and you were in the other position before.
Mm.
When I think we only realize how life is so short when something like this happened to us that is so shocking and you're like, what am I doing with my life? And in that case, you said that from what you share, that you're like, I'm glad that I'm here now, because if it was, something else happened, God forbid, but what would happen with your family, right?
Yeah, well, let me break it down. So, because everybody listening doesn't know what happened. So, here's what happened. I got shot while my wife was driving down the freeway. Um, a guy recklessly driving is swerving through traffic, almost hits us. There's like a little back and forth. Then he takes an exit, rolls his window down, pulls out a rifle, fires 3 times at our car. One of them goes through one of the windows, through my seat, across my back, and into the windshield. I was less than an inch away from dying. Um, and with a round of 5.56. So it would have, yeah, I would either be really paralyzed or dead. Like those were the options there. Um, or my wife would be dead, one of the two. But here's the reality. Um, I had an outpouring of support by our organization, which was a great feeling. Um, but on top of that, what was really good, and I know people shouldn't really utilize a tragedy in this way, but it's just the truth. Um, I had an actualization that had that happened when I owned my brokerage, my wife was not in a position and will probably never be in a position where she could have ran that company. I mean, just being honest, right? It's a behemoth. One, you have to have your secondary license. You have to be able to operate a corporation, run a staff, understand compliance, understand legal. There's so many moving parts to the brokerage game. It's not like you can have a spouse just pick it up and go. It would have just disintegrated. Agents would have just left. They would have left to another company. It would just be gone. Whereas when we're here at EXP, if I was to pass away, if I was to get, if I was dead, um, my wife could have just gotten a real estate license, told EXP, connected the license, and continued getting the revenue share that I've built. And I have no question in my mind that the leadership in our organization and all of the other people that are connected to us would have probably rallied around that and started sending co-sponsorships and all sorts of stuff to make that grow, to help support her and my kids. And that type of a feeling gives you a lot more assurance than, you know, being the owner. I don't care about that. I care about the well-being of my family's legacy, the long-term vision that I'm trying to have for impact on thousands of agents. And if I'm candid, the likelihood that you listening here are going to get thousands of agents at your real estate brokerage, even getting to 1,000 agents with your real estate brokerage, you think you're going to be the top 50 brokerages in the country? That's what you have to do. And there's thousands and thousands of them. It's a very competitive game. If that's not going to be you, well, and I'll tell you right now, if you've been an owner for 5 years, let's say, and you have less than 50 agents, it's not going to be you. I'll tell you emphatically. If you're getting less than an agent a month, it's not you. You'll never do it. And that's the only way you can truly pivot out and make it so that it's an income that's truly sustainable. Even when I had mine, it was still tenuous. It was tenuous income. And I had a business partner that was helping me too. So it's the likelihood that you ever even get to 100 is less than 1 in 100 brokerages. So you're listening to this and you have 20, 30. You think, oh, all I have to do is 3 times my company size. Meanwhile, you've been building it for 8 years. What makes you think that's going to happen with attrition rates? It's probably not, at least not in the vehicle that you're operating. Meanwhile, in just the last couple months, I've had 35 people come join my organization in just 2 months. So your brokerage is the size of my 2 months. And that's the kind of thing you have to be able to wrap your head around, that yes, it's a process. Yes, it's a transfer. Yes, it's a change in your mindset. Yes, it's a change in your branding a little, but you get to keep your brand. But long term, it's a better decision. I left money on the table to do it. But you know what's more important than that? The amount of money I left on the table by not transferring in the first place, which this is going to the team leaders as well. I wish in 2018, when I started my brokerage on August 1st, that I didn't do that. I wish that I had just went straight to EXP. Because today I would have thousands of agents across the country. I would already have that.
It's a matter of time until you get to the thousands.
Yeah. Well, think about it. That was 7 years ago. Think about this. Connor, he joined in 2018.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd have 10 times the agents I do today. I'd have a couple thousand agents instead of a few hundred. So if you're a broker owner or a team leader or whatever, you're thinking about it, the time will kill you.
Yeah.
The time, the ability for things to duplicate. I know without a shadow of a doubt, next year I'm going to average 15 to 20 agents joining my organization every single month. Because that's barely larger than they do now. And that's only going to continue to expand. And if you're not getting similar results in your brokerage, why are you still operating a vehicle that's slower? It just doesn't make sense.
No, thank you so much for all the breakdown, the vulnerability, and the education also, because sometimes as agents, sometimes they don't think about what their broker is going through. And as a broker, you don't want to share with anybody sometimes of the pains that is running this business that is very heavy. And sometimes, like you say, it's a slower vehicle. So yeah, I would, thanks for chatting with us. And I feel like I learned a lot today on the brokerage side of things, not only because I knew in theory what it is like, but from a personal perspective from you that you lived it before, you can share with other people, similar feelings.
It's a little bit unfortunate that agents can't really talk about their feelings, and I'll tell you why. It's because if brokerage owners started talking about the hardships of brokerage ownership, their agents would leave them. I'm not. This isn't hyperbole. If John over here is like, brokerage is hard. I make almost no money. We're not profitable. Basically, I make $2,000 a month to run this entire company. If you went and said that, they'd be like, I'm out. I'm going somewhere else that isn't going to shut their doors. Maybe I'll go over to Compass because they're only $4 billion in debt. That's better. It's not, but that's not the point. They'll leave that because that's showing weakness and they can't do that. And so, hopefully, me just explaining the realities of that, hopefully, I'm talking to you. And know that you are not the only person that is struggling. You are one of thousands of brokerages that is struggling. All of you are struggling. I was still struggling and I ran a tight ship and I charged so much money for people to work with me. If you're not charging I'll give everybody an example. I'm going to be public about what I was charging agents because if you're not doing this, you will not be able to expand. I'm going to just give you a free nugget for everybody today. This is what I was charging, and it was the only reason I could expand and afford staff and afford extra spaces. If you're not charging this or more, you cannot expand because you can't afford to. Okay? I had a 70-30 split, a 2.25% split that never capped, the 30% split capped at $25,000. Every transaction had a $500 transaction fee, and it cost $100 a month just to be at the company. The problem with that is simple. One, that's basically what you have to charge to run that style operation and expand at all. Two, you have to compete with companies like us, which charge basically half that money. So why try to sell something for double that's worse? That's like McDonald's trying to sell a high quality steak for for double the price. It makes no sense. And that's why back even when I was running it and I was growing quickly, I was still only growing by 4 agents a month. That's a fast growth for a brokerage. Now I'm growing by 3 times that amount. So yeah, it's because I'm selling the right product for the right price. But anyway, if you're a brokerage owner, take that pricing strategy. I mean, good luck with the retention side, but yeah.
No, I think what puzzles me from what you said is that the 100% brokerages, they only charge like $200 to $400 per transaction to
Mhm.
agents. Of course, that's good for the agents, but then the broker owner doesn't make any money barely to pay the rent or a membership, let's say for $500 a year, and they consider that making money, and that can barely pay like 3 months worth of rent. I still don't understand the numbers on that
Well,
100%.
I'll break that
As
down.
a broker owner, I'm like, what the heck?
I'll break it down. So this is the
Sorry.
other model, the fee style structure model. It's predicated based off of a couple things. One, agents not understanding actual splits. That's number one. And number two, massive agent volume based off of being the lowest cost of entry. Those are the two things that are required. So, one, agents that are vastly outperforming the normal agents that just have no idea that they're getting overcharged. When you get charged $300 a transaction, let's say, it's usually more, call it $500 a transaction and no monthly fees and whatever, right? So it's just $500 a transaction. Well, if you're closing 50 deals, you're paying $25,000 to be there. If you were at EXP, you would pay basically nothing because of stock incentives getting back. So you would literally pay 23,000 or so dollars more money to be at the cheap company than you would be doing to be at EXP. So that's number one. You get some of those high producers that end up paying you lots of money. Number two, you get all of the agents that don't want to pay anything and that are going to go do 1 to 4 deals a year. You're going to get tons of those and you give them no support. That's the reality. So great, I'm gonna go get 100 of those. They all do 2 deals, right? So those 100 agents all do 2 deals. That's 200 transactions at $500 a pop. That's $100,000. So $100,000 plus our 5 agents that do 50 deals a year. That's another $100,000. So we're making $200,000. We get our broom closet office space that's, call it $50,000 a year. And we have one person on staff that we underpay and pay them $100,000 a year. So we can make our $100,000 a year pre-tax. That's how that works. Here's the problem. Who wants to run that? Number one. Number two, if you get sued, that's profitability loss for 2 entire years. Number three, just go do sale. Go be a real estate. If you were going to own the company, you probably did sales in the first place. Go sell $3 million worth of product. That's substantially easier than running a behemoth operation like that for $100,000. It's a waste of time. Unless you build it to 500 agents or something like that, and you don't give them anything extra, no extra support, no extra tech stack, no extra staff, and you keep the office the same size. Anyway, I'll diatribe about that forever. The reality is this: it's still not a better model. I've ran the numbers at every single brokerage that you can imagine, and eXp has the best compensation model almost for every single production level.
Mm-hmm. No, thanks for the breaking. I mean, that was a quick math, but I think most people that run a business right now on the brokerage side will understand and relate probably that sometimes it's just easier to just, adjust and save money and time, and probably still keep the brand. I mean, if they choose to, like you did, and many of us do, by keeping the brand, we're not forced to, represent a big brand like a Remax Century 21 and pay into that as well to represent somebody else's brand that is not yours. I think that's one thing that still puzzles me in the today's age of, personal branding and things like that.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, like, this was very informative, Garth. Thank you so much for sharing with us your experience, the breakdown of brokerages. I think it's going to be very helpful for broker owners that are thinking about their next steps, and also to see what's next in this, 2025 era.
Of course. Now, if anybody's trying to maybe make the transition, they want to have a conversation about potentially partnering with us, click a link in the description below. We'll have a conversation. We can delve into all the specifics. And if it's a right fit, it is. Either way, it's confidential. We're not going to hound you about it. So
how can people find you online so they can make sure that they Google you or find you?
Yeah, look up Garth Ward on YouTube. You'll be able to find me pretty easily. Look up the Garth Ward on Instagram. Those are the 2 main ways to reach me. You can direct message me on either platform. I'll respond to every single message like I always do.
Awesome. And we'll have all the links below. So if anybody has any questions and want to have a conversation with Garth, we'll be able to facilitate that as well. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Our intention is for you to get inspired and just take your business to the next level. We just share tips, and if anything like we share resonates with you, you want to take your business global, you want to expand to other cities and states without the effort of incorporating every single state, and also you want to expand to other countries, you might want to chat with us. Maybe we can help you doing the step-by-step plan to get to that goal. If you want to have a group call between 3 of us or just have a one-on-one with me, I'm happy to connect. My calendar will be in the link below. And also, you can always text us or call us, and we'll be able to chat more about what are the needs that you have right now in your business and how we can cater to that with our platform. That's it for today. Stay tuned, and we'll see you guys in the next video.